Hi everyone. Today the topic that I've chose is an extremely personal one to me, and it is really hard and might be a little triggering for others. It's triggering for me. And I did make an outline, so I'm going to try my best to stick to it, but it might be a little hard just because of the topic that I'm choosing. And the topic that I've chosen for this assignment is how surviving cancer at a young age has really changed my life and the way I view it. Um, so I'm sure you can imagine being a 20 something year old at the time, and I just was going to work like every other normal Monday through Friday day. And I got a phone call from my doctor, and he said, I think we figured out what the problem is. And this is after, a month of me trying to figure out what was wrong with me, basically. I mean, I would go through emergency rooms, urgent care, and nobody was able to help me. I was even turned away and said, "Why are you here? You're not dying." Um, but it turns out I was dying actively. So, um, but according to the American Cancer Society, there are more than 18 million cancer survivors living in the United States, and the number continues to grow because of advances in early detection and treatment. I know that every cancer survivor has a unique story, and today I want to share with you guys mine. Um, so, having cancer is obviously, it was not easy for me. It was extremely a dark time in my life and also my family's life. Anyone that was around me, it was challenging. Um, but I can say that with this cancer diagnosis, it has definitely changed the way I view life and how I am as a person, really. So I do feel I've become strong with this diagnosis, um, just mentally and, well, physically, I'd say now, obviously, but definitely mentally, because when I was first diagnosed, I was extremely scared. I didn't know what life was going to look like for me. Would I even have a life still? When you hear cancer, most people don't think of good things. You just think, oh, there's a lot of times there's one way how that ends for most people. Thankfully, that wasn't the option for me. I survived it, and I'm in remission for almost 2 years now. My remission date or my remission anniversary is actually November 26th. So, fun fact. But I feel like what helped me get through such a tough time was just staying positive and taking it one day at a time. I refused to believe that I was sick. I wouldn't allow it. Although it was very obvious I was sick. I mean, I could not walk from this end of the house to the other end of the house without feeling like I was going to faint or having to hold on to somebody or somebody help me. I couldn't shower alone. I had to have my door cracked open and I had to use a shower chair. And I'm sure you can imagine how hard that is for someone I want to say I was 23 when I first got diagnosed. It's extremely hard, but even then, I'm not gonna lie, I did have a little bit of an attitude because, like I said, I didn't want to believe that I was sick. So I just kept having a positive mind. So when my parents, would be like, "Do you need help?" I would honestly get mad at them, and I know it's unfair to them because they were also going through a hard time. But for me, it was, don't treat me like I'm sick because when I was first diagnosed, we had a treatment plan of, my treatment and how long it was going to take and where they think that I would be within this certain amount of time frame. And in my case, they told me, I think within 6 rounds of chemo, you will be okay. We think that your tumor will shrink and you will be in remission. So for me, I took that and that's what I ran with. Um, I would count down. So every month I would do treatment. I would say it was every 2 weeks, really, but and for my treatment, I did chemo, and it was called the Red Devil. So I know that sounds terrifying, but yeah, it was because it was a really strong treatment. And it did take my hair and everything, unfortunately, and made me very weak, made me nauseous, couldn't eat, never wanted to eat. They tried to shove protein shakes down my mouth, but I wouldn't take them. But yeah, so it was a rough time, but like I said, I just took it, and each time I would go in for my stay. It was a week-long stay where I was hooked up to the IV the entire time, couldn't go outside. Um, People would bring me flowers, but they couldn't come in the room because I was so, well, I didn't have an immune system basically because of the chemotherapy. I was just being injected with poison for that whole week straight. But at the time, I would just count down. So each time I go in for a treatment, okay, I only have five left. Okay, the next one's done. I only have four left. Next one's done. I only have three left. And that's just exactly what I kept doing. And at that time, right before I was diagnosed, I actually had just gotten into snowboarding with my friends and the whole car scene. So I was always out and about before I got sick, at least during that last 2 month period. Um, so for me, I was just, that's exactly what I was looking forward to. I was like, okay, once I'm done with my treatment, it'll be perfect. I'll have time to, get better, feel more healthy, and hitting the mountain again, and I'm going back to all my normal activities. Um, so I feel like the way that, you keep your mind is really important on your health as well. I feel like if you keep a positive attitude, like you'll just keep progressing in health. I think if you think you're sick, you're making yourself sick. And maybe I don't mean to be, you know, rude or come off as like ignorant or anything like that to other people, but at least in my experience, that's how I felt personally. According to the National Cancer Institute, they explain that many cancer survivors experience emotional growth after treatment, often developing greater resilience, stronger relationships, and a renewed appreciation for life. And I feel through my personal experience, that's exactly what I feel. I would say yes, of course, after my treatment, I did have a time where I would say I was a little depressed. But like I said, I just feel like I've become a more grateful person. I've appreciate life more now. I just see things differently. I take things one day at a time, you know, like even just for example, this past 4th of July, just seeing the fireworks just seeing the fireworks was so like great for me. Like I just appreciated every second of that I was able to see them, because there was a time when I wasn't. So just things like that I feel made me a stronger person, made me more appreciative, and just I'd say a better person overall personally. I also feel that cancer has taught me to live more in the present rather than worrying about things that I have no control over of. Um, and I know this is gonna sound like a dumb example, but even like a boy, for example, why am I worried about a boy? I beat cancer, and I'm worried about a boy? No, like I'm just being honest. That's just the type of person I feel like you end up being once you go through such a tough time. Um, you just see things differently. I also want to take a moment to just go over how important it is to listen to your body. You know when something's not right, and you shouldn't let other people tell you, how you should feel or how your body should be. At the time for me, when I was sick, I would wake up, my face was extremely swollen. Okay, you couldn't even recognize my face anymore. I had to sleep at an angle because I could not breathe. There was one night where it was so bad, I told my mom that I need to sleep with you because I don't know if I'm gonna wake up in the morning. And all this, and I mean, I went to the emergency room. I'm not gonna name names, but and I was turned away. They said, "There's nothing wrong with you. You're not dying." I was dying though. It's just nobody took the time to really listen, understand, and figure out, what is wrong with this girl, except for that one doctor. So shout out him. But yeah, so if you feel something is wrong with your body or you feel it in your gut, I'd say trust it. Although this topic is extremely hard for me to talk about and was an extremely dark time in my life, it has helped me discover the strength I carry within myself. It's helped me become a more grateful person, grateful for being here, grateful for my family and friends who stood beside me, grateful for my health, modern medicine, um, and that's including all the nurses and the doctors and staff that were able to help take care of me. and also help with my mental because they did share their advice and their, positive words, and that really helped me as well. And lastly, I'm grateful for God. So thank you everybody for listening. I'm sorry if it was all over the place. I really did try to stick to my outline, but again, this is really something that's really hard for me to talk about. Um, Maybe it doesn't seem that way, but I can promise you I've recorded this a few times and I've definitely cried in between. So thank you for everyone for listening.